This doesn't look too good. I don't know. Look at the case that it came in, guys. I guess it's practical, but it's not what I was expecting. But hey, can't complain as long as there's a camera in there. For a moment there, I thought there would be no camera, but here's the camera. This is the Ricoh KR-5 Super 2. Beautiful, beautiful SLR. Just nice and compact. It feels really good to hold. I just love it. I love the shape of it. It feels like a rangefinder actually, the design. Just look at how slim and low profile the body is. It feels like a rangefinder, like one of those smaller rangefinders. Nice camera. Now let's see if it actually works. Okay, let's test it out. And of course it's not advancing, it's not firing either. Let's see, is there a lock? There is no lock that I can see. I think most likely it needs a battery. Yeah, most likely it needs a battery. And the reason why I can tell too is that there is very little travel in the shutter. I need to load this with battery and most likely it's gonna work. Let's check the condition of the mirror. So I'm gonna depress this little button here and then spin, and look at that. The inside of this camera is actually in very good shape. Very good shape. Lens is back on. It came with a f1.7 lens. That's a decently fast lens. Okay, now let's check out the back, see the condition of the shutter. So I'm gonna lift the rewind knob here, and the shutter is in good condition. So these are some of the checks that I do whenever I buy cameras. Look at that. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Okay, so replacing the batteries was a bit of a breeze. It wasn't too difficult to do this, really. What you would notice is here I tried to, see if I could get this thing to fire, and no luck. And here I was scratching my head, like, why is this not working? It just seemed so off. No response, and even the shutter advance lever was kind of stuck. So I decided, let me just fiddle with the self timer there, and even that did not work. Okay, so here I am again, just fiddling with this camera, just racking my brains on how to make this thing work. Could not figure it out. I opened it, checked the shutter, I checked if there were some loose parts. Nothing at all. So at the end I decided to take off the lens, and the moment I did, you heard that sound. That was the shutter finally firing. The fact that it fired when the lens came off, it was firing just fine. I checked the self timer and it fired just fine. And there's a reason why I don't mess with self timers, because sometimes a lot of the time they do get stuck, and so I don't mess with them. But this one I decided to see if that was the issue, and so I decided to put on the lens again, and just to check if it would actually work now, considering that it had actually fired. It just seemed to fire once the lens was off, and still couldn't understand why at this point. Now once the lens was on, you hear that tiny click, and it doesn't give you a full shutter release. And here again, the moment I take off the lens, you would see it does the full firing. So then, that is all that I needed to know, because after careful observation I found out what was wrong.
So I've discovered exactly what's wrong with this particular camera. I think what happened, if you pay attention to the top here, you'll notice a little gap from here to there for the mirror, and that's not supposed to be the case. This mirror is supposed to be a little further up, and what's going on is that it probably slipped. So what happens is that because the mirror is sticking out, when this thing flips up, it basically hits the lens because it's just too far up. It's supposed to be somewhere over here, not up here. So that's what's going on here, and I plan to gently remove this and stick it back onto this plate here. So that's what I'm hoping to do. So as you can tell, guys, somebody stuck this mirror on and stuck it on the wrong way. So that's basically what's going on here. And now look, I'm able to pry it from the mirror, this plate, and there we go. Finally. You see how the mirror just came off like that? Oh, look. And I got the mirror off. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna apply some glue right there, and then stick this, supposed to go all the way on there, like so. Right? This is how this is supposed to be on this. I think I may not even have to apply the glue. Just check this out. See? That actually works. And okay, so I'm gonna put the lens back on and pop the shutter, and let's see. See? Now, no issues. No issues. That actually works now. So now that I've put the lens back on, I needed to check the focus to make sure that the focus actually works. Now, if you look here, there are distances on the focusing ring, and what you do is you're going to gauge an object at any distance and see if it focuses at that right distance. If it doesn't, then that means your mirror is not set on properly. So that's what I'm doing right now. There's this little object right there that's about 5 to 6 feet, so I'm just gonna focus on it and see what it says. So it tells me that object is 3 feet, and that's not quite right. So I know there's something wrong here. Let me focus on an object at infinity. So I can tell that this is not set properly because objects at infinity are not focusing properly. There's still too much allowance for objects at infinity. So I think I've figured it out. I think what's going on is there was just so much goop placed under the mirror that it actually changed the angle of the mirror. So what I'm gonna do is take off the mirror and scrape off all the goop. I'm gonna use super glue to attach the mirror to the metal base. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I think it's gonna work. I'm very hopeful that it will work this time, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So I take the mirror off and look at all the goop under the mirror. Look at the amount of goop under there. It's not supposed to be like that, because if you place that much material between the mirror and that plate, you're changing the angle, and every tiny little change in the angle of this mirror has a significant impact on the focusing distances and the accuracy of your focusing distances. So that's something to be mindful of. Somebody literally just stuck glue underneath the mirror and on top here, and it's not evenly spread there. It looks like this mirror itself may be an aftermarket mirror. It works, but I'm gonna have to take care of this goop and take care of the goop on this as well. So what I'll do is I'll just use this little sharp end here to scrape off the majority of this goop here, and being careful not to cause a displacement of this plate itself, because you don't want it to come out of the hinges over there. So unfortunately this is not going to be as easy as it may appear from the beginning. I have to be very careful, and I'm just scraping. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm just basically pushing this gluey material into a ball, then I'm gonna scrape it off gently. It's doing a pretty decent job actually. If you can see, that goop is coming off nicely, and the plate is starting to look in decent shape. Now I just have to use a microfiber cloth to actually remove all the lint and loose material in there.
So it's been a while since I shot the last few clips. So here's the final product. It's looking really good. It's been repaired and I'm very pleased with the performance now. It's really good. I really like it. So let's take off the lens and let's check out the mirror. Look how beautiful it is in there. This has been sitting for a while, and now the mirror is pretty much set in there. Very pleased with it. It's looking good. I'm glad I took the pains to clean it out and to fix it really well. So let's just wind this up and fire. Take a look at the mirror. See, it's all in place, no issues. And also the distances with relations to the focusing do correspond very well. This has been quite an adventure. And even though this video may not show it, it took me quite a while to actually get to the final product because I had other things to do. But I'm glad that this is done and this is fixed.